Yeah. Sunset just occurred. It's a little bit light still. It's getting darker. No problem for me. It's me already does it. Doing another live. And the topic of this live stream will be enduring and surviving societal collapse. I see Don't Tide is here. Welcome here. Thanks for the thumbs up. I see Tammy's here, Maria is here. Elephant Room Studios here, Joanne is here. Again, I'll start at a 4-minute mark, so still have 3 minutes to go before I begin teaching. Thanks for the thumbs up. Again, it's night. Well, not nice evening now here. It's going to get dark soon, but there's street lights all over the place, so it's not a problem. Yes. Just walk around in the evening, catch some evening fresh air. And by the way, there is a big difference between community and society. Too often, when people leave comments, they mix the two up, society and community. Community are the human beings living together somewhere. They have to get along as a species. Because we the human species need to get along. We live in groups. That's a community. Society is this fear construct that adults enact to avoid life together. So it's a big difference. Dion is here. That's good. So don't mix community and society, please. You're confusing yourself. And you already get enough confusion from mainstream media. All right. Let me see. I see Danielle Sims is here. Praise the Lord. Let's see how long. Okay. I have some time for this live stream. No problem. Let me lower the light. Okay, that's good. All right. Ciela, stop watching mainstream media. Well, that's a good thing. From time to time, you need to check it out just to see what's going on around you. Or if you have alternative ways to find that out, you should do it. So, that's good. All right. Well, let me cross the road. It's not a 4-minute mark yet, so just a little bit patient, please. All right, let me see. So Justin is here too. Welcome, Justin. 15 minutes before I begin. All right. Marky Mark is here. Praise the Lord. Yes, 4-minute mark. So I'm beginning right now. All right. I've already explained in previous videos and live streams over and over again the difference between society and community. And we know that society is a fear construct that's enacted. We know that. Now, we know that society is a construct that adults enact, adults from various communities. And we know that adults cling onto this thing called society for all that's dear onto them. Now, society, again, is a construct. It's something people enact. So for people to enact it, they must believe in it. People must be convinced that a thing called society is something real and it's something worthwhile. And the way society is validated as true is by the people it can punish. With punishment is simply afflicting someone narcissistic. It's narcissistically wounding someone for not doing what you want. That's punishment. Punishment has nothing to do with justice. So I don't know why people keep associating punishment with the Heavenly Father. Punishment is narcissistically afflicting someone for not doing what you want. You don't get what you want, so you escalate. That's punishment. Society, as a narcissistic construct, can only be validated by successfully escalating on its victims. So if this enactment of this collective narcissist, if it cannot successfully victimize its targets, it will lose credibility. For example, if society demands you to show recognition in a form what they call respect, and you refuse to do it, then life must become difficult for you. Because if life does not become difficult for you, when you don't give them recognition, what does it say about them? That they're just an option. And they want to be seen as the inevitable. Society wants to be seen as inevitable. Because when you perceive society as inevitable, you have an excuse for not taking responsibility. You have an excuse for just complying with what's expected of you. Because remember, the crowd doesn't want to take responsibility. The crowd just want to be left alone. They just want to do whatever they want to do without being challenged. So society must be seen as an inevitable situation, because if it's inevitable, what can you do about it? The same way people say, well, you're born this way. If you say you're born this way, that means you don't have any responsibility for how the behavior that comes forth from that situation. Well, the same way worldlings hold on society as something inevitable. It's just the way things are. Or this is how society is, this is how just the world is. They are the world, they are society, they're the ones enacting this thing called society, so they're responsible for the consequences of this enactment. Because they can choose to not enact that thing also. That option exists. But they don't want to think about that option, because once they realize that there are other options, it means that they become responsible for holding on to this delusion. There is no option. So, society, as a narcissistic construct, can only work when it can successfully get rid of those that oppose it, or get rid of its victims. That is the blood of society, namely the blood of the victims it can spill without being charged. That is why whenever there is a lynching going on, or there is some type of dumping happening, people are not allowed to have their own opinion. Because when you have your own opinion, that means that there are alternative views possible. And when you have alternative views, you can realize, hold on a minute, but why do people choose this particular view? Why? And then you realize, people hold on this particular view because it helps them covering up this and that. And once that is clear, it's over. Society doesn't work anymore. So this whole thing called freedom of speech is an illusion. Because no society can operate with freedom of speech. Because freedom of speech implies that you're able to express how you think and feel. But here's the thing. If everyone expresses how they think and feel over and over again, you have no unity. Without unity, no community can work. You get me? So, without any unity, no community will get anywhere. As simple as that. So, understand the following. Anytime anyone insists on freedom of speech or their civil liberties, they are investing in a delusion. Why is it a delusion? Because no society, I'm not even talking about community now, I'm talking about society. Even a community cannot function without a common consensus. So everyone must agree with a common consensus for the community to work. When it comes to society, it's the same thing, even worse, because society is not even something natural. So anytime society tells you have freedom of speech, this and that, they're just placating you to make you shut up. That's why. society is as strong as it's able to coerce you to agree with this view. That's why society has to afflict you or make things hard on you when you disagree with their expectations. For example, there is this Dutch secretary, a blonde-haired female, working in the parliament, and she disagreed with some of those measures that the Dutch demissionary government, because the current government of the Netherlands is demissionary, so they're not even supposed to come with new legislation. They came up with some measurement for the world crisis that goes on, and she expressed criticism on it. And what happens now? She has been fired. Huh? In the United States politics, you have them disagree with each other all the time, even in the same parties. But in the Dutch government, the so-called tolerant liberal country, this female, this politician, expressed criticism about some policy that this government will enact, and she was fired. Now, what does that say about the situation of the country? It simply means that you're not allowed to open your mouth unless you're asked to, and when you're asked to open your mouth, you say what people want to hear. But that's how all societies are. Some societies give you a platform to express different views, but it's only a platform so that they can know, oh, so you don't agree with us, so we know if you want to set someone up, we can set you up. So this whole freedom of speech thing is a trap. It's a trap so they can figure out who they need to get rid of. Now, so that's the thing about society. So when a society fails in persecuting and getting rid of its victims, people begin to see through the facade. And so when people see through the facade, they're not motivated anymore. And once the public becomes demotivated, this demotivation will lead to depression. It will lead to, I would say, the decomposition of social relationships. It will lead to people having less social interactions with one another. It will lead to isolation. And then eventually it will lead to extremism. Because there is no collective consensus anymore that everyone is invested in. Now the whole population is fractured, and within those fractures, some people develop extremist ideas due to polarization of the public. Now, that is exactly what's happening now in the Western world, in various countries. It's something transnational. The societies, Western society as a whole, as well as the individual societies within the countries, they are lost their convincing arguments for their victimization. They've lost it. And because they've lost this, now you have all this polarization going on. That's why now you have those fractions turning against one another. Because normally society functions at ease because there is a set of victims everyone can explode upon. And of course, this narcissistic abuse by the crowd is always excused. Saying, oh, they're homeless people. Saying, oh, they're poor because they don't work hard, they're lazy. Or if there's a migrant, say, oh, those migrants come to take our jobs, they should go and fight for their own country. Or they may use skin color, or they may use some dialect, whatever. The victimization of the victims is always justified with some weird excuse that everyone refuses to examine. As long as everyone keeps their mouth shut and nobody challenges the weird excuses, society is effective. And the benefits are people get along, people are at ease, but this ease is no natural ease, it's ease under a threat. So you're threatened to accept this ease, because the alternative to this ease is to be targeted, is to be victimized. So the public, they get deformed in thinking that this ease is something natural, something they're entitled to. And they forget that this ease is the product of oppression. So, that is how societies operate. Now, When society is highly functional, it means that it's successful in getting rid of its victims. That's why you have people going missing and nobody pays attention to it. It becomes cold cases. That's why you have certain minorities who never get any economic relevancy in certain communities. But when society's violence exposes itself, and it always happens, it can take 20 or 30 years, even 40 years. But at some point, when everything's at ease, the public will be so confident in that ease that is generated that they'll overplay the hand. They'll go too far, thinking they can handle it, and they'll end up exposing all the dark shit of the communities over there. Once this happens, and you see societal disintegration, do the following. Do the following. Go low key. Now let me see how much battery I have still. Okay, I still have some battery. Go low key. Do not stay in the open like you did before when society was at ease. Because when society was at ease, you never realized the darkness that kept it all going. But now that the darkness is exposed, nobody wants to face it, nobody wants to deal with it. But they have no choice but to deal with it. And because they have no choice but to deal with it, they'll get angry. They'll lose their mind. And that will happen, folks will begin to lose their mind on a regular basis. So if you're in a community and on a regular basis people are losing their minds publicly, or people end up missing on an increasing rate, now you know societal disintegration is happening. Go low key. You can still be online, you can still have social media, you can still post things on social media and all of that, but go low key. Don't push yourself out there too much. Because those are dangerous times when people are desperate for explosion. Because the negative tension that they can't discard by dumping on the victims, it now stays within them. And the longer that negative tension remains in their system, the more it's going to increase and the more dangerous people become. I'm not saying you have to become a hermit or you have to become a loner, only staying inside your house, but just go low key. If you used to go to parties a lot, meeting a lot of people, go to less parties. If you like to go out there and just meet other new people, that's a good thing. Limit that from now on. Now, about the Haitian crisis, I'll have to make another video live stream about that. In any case, Haiti, just before you know this, then I'll continue with the lesson. Haiti is hated because of its history with shutting down white supremacy. The world never forgave Haiti for shutting down the reintroduction of slavery. So that's why Haiti receives so much antagonism by the world, especially the United States. But anyway, also because Haiti, when it was occupied by the United States, exploited the United States, instead of the United States exploiting them. So Haiti is even smarter than the USA government in the 19th century. They never forgave Haiti for that. So that is the current crisis with Haiti. But okay. So number one thing I told you already, go low key. The second thing you have to do when you know the societal collapse is going on, save. I'm not a believer in saving money and having saving accounts, all of that. But when you know the societal collapse, keep some financial resources aside. Okay? Because that crisis can erupt into mass riots, it can erupt into lynchings, it can erupt into anything. So keep some cash aside. The third thing you do is begin to form ties, well, you should have this anyway, begin to form ties with people from other communities where there is no crisis going on. Because those people are able to see things with a fresh eye. You get me? So if you live in, let's say, Sweden, and the societal collapse going on over there, make sure you have some friends from, let's say, Denmark or Germany, or maybe from Russia or whatever. Make sure you have people who are living in an area where the crisis is not going on, because those people can clearly see what's going on. You, that's part of that community, you may not see immediately what's going on. For you, it may be a riddle what's going on, but others can clearly see it because they are outsiders. Outsiders can see it more quickly. Then, after forming ties with people from other communities, the fourth thing you need to do is begin to disengage from local activities. I'm not telling you to become a loner and to just go to work and go home and live like hikikomori do in Japan. Hikikomori are those Japanese people who gave up on life and only want to stay in the room till they die. I'm telling you to do that. But don't be all over the place when a societal collapse is going on. That's a very dangerous thing to do. Now, what else should you do when a societal collapse is going on? What you should do is begin to consider relocating or moving to another location temporarily or permanent or maybe for a longer time, I don't know. Just realize that you cannot just rely on your own residence where you are. Because the best way to deal with societal collapse is by not dealing with it. Again, the best way to deal with a societal meltdown is by not dealing with it. Because it's a meltdown. Folks are losing their mind. And when folks lose their mind, no logic and no common sense will work. So the people are driven by bitter emotions and they just want an outlet for whatever they're feeling. So realize that it may happen in the future that you may have to go get away for a few months or a year or two. And when you realize that the situation around you is getting dark and grim, at some point just prepare to leave. And this is the reason why there's so many people out there who end up missing and murdered. Because they don't notice that the people around them are turning on them. Listen, when you have your breakthroughs, when you are breaking through, when you're expanding your influence, when things are working out for you, the public will resent you. And when the public around you resent you, they will do their best to sabotage you. When they fail in sabotaging you, whether it's directly in your face or behind the scenes, they will be humiliated. And this humiliation will turn into rage. Then they will decide you have to die. You have to be gone. Because your survival of their sabotage is an humiliation and embarrassment to them. And as long as you are alive, you are proof of how unreliable and how unreliable and how untrustworthy they are. So, that is why I'm telling you, anytime you notice that the people around you begin to avoid you out of the blue, as I explained before in my live stream about how to recognize a con, when you notice that people out of the blue begin to avoid you and there's no justification for it, you know that you're being targeted. You know that there's negative contention against you. You know that there's something growing against you behind the scenes. Once you notice this, don't take it lightly. This is a dangerous situation that's unfolding against you. So, the reason why other people are avoiding you is because other people can clearly feel and see the anger growing against you. And other people can see clearly if one day this anger is going to explode on you and you're going to be harmed, you're going to be killed, or you're going to be acted against. And they know if they are around you, they will be sucked into what's going to happen to you. So to keep themselves safe from danger, they disconnect from you or they avoid you. Because they understand that the best way to deal with the situation is by not being involved and to walk away from it. So when you are the target of psychic violence or you're the target of negative contention, a lot of people will disengage from you so that they are not harmed as bystanders, because the bystanders can be harmed also. So when people out of the blue begin to ignore you, just like that, you know, I need to get out of here. Make sure you have some alternatives to go to. But this isn't just about you personally. Whenever the societal meltdown going on, whenever the societal collapse, people are looking for victims more and more anyway, because the common victims are not available. So anytime there's a societal collapse, people will begin to look for victims more and more. Maybe you often went jogging in the park. Every morning, people see you going out of your house jogging. Nobody cared. Oh, this guy's jogging again, leave him alone. But now there's a societal collapse, and the public has to face issues, whether it's an increase in crime, whether it's a collapse of the economy, whatever. Whenever the crowd has to face something they don't want to, but they have no choice, but they can't avoid. Now, this frustration, this anger, they want to take it out somewhere. And now suddenly, you leave in the morning every day to go jogging becomes a problem. Now people say, who does this guy think he is? Going jogging every morning, think he's better than us, thinking I'm so healthy. Now people are going to mock you because you want to keep your body healthy. But before you went jogging every morning, nobody cared. People even praising, hey, you're working on your condition, your physical condition, that's good. But now that they need victims, now suddenly they're using that common thing, you going to jog every morning, against you. And it's not even something bad or something controversial, it's just something natural that you do, they're using against you. You see? So then they will say, why is he jogging every morning? Is he hiding something? Now they will lose their mind. They will fabricate stories on why you jog every morning. Some may even say, maybe he's raping children in the morning. Huh? Are there children around to rape at that hour when you're jogging? No, because children are still asleep at home. So the whole idea that you may be raping children at that early in the morning is ridiculous. But because they have no interest in solving the issues in their community, and they just want to escalate, they will come up with weird stories, and they will hold on to those weird stories. So then, before you know it, people begin to avoid you. You say hi to people, and people say hi back. Now suddenly you say hi, people are avoiding you. When that happens, stop jogging every morning. Jog only once a week, not every morning, and then disappear. Move to another place, or stay with some friends or relatives for a while, or go on a long holiday. Do what you have to do. When you cross the Jordan, you now are operating in potential. So because you operate in potential, you're operating in leverage. That's true. Just like Milan is saying in the live chat. However, you walking in potential does not cancel out that they will riot against you. So you still have to deal with the riot in a practical way. So after you cross the Jordan, that's symbolic speaking, after you begin to operate in potential as a believer, it's then that you graduate into sainthood. A saint is a believer operating in power. So once you begin to walk in power, you have a leverage. They can't get too close with the escalation, but they will still generate a dark climate. Before you cross the Jordan, they can do it more easily, they can come into your face quickly. But once you cross the Jordan, it gets more difficult. However, don't be cocky, thinking, oh, I crossed the Jordan, so I can just face those people and put them in a place. Yes, you can face them and put them in a place. But when you face them, put them in a place, it's going to cause extra violence. And if they can't violate you because you're covered by the power, they will tear down the whole community around them. And they may even harm defenseless people like children because they can't get to you. And who would they blame for it? You. Because people say you should have walked away from those people. So that's why even Jesus himself, when the people of Gadara refused to repent and they began to blame him and asked him to leave them alone, he just left. He shook the dust off his feet. Because if they would have committed collective suicide or tear down the whole community, it would have been a shock to the whole Roman Empire and would be blamed Christ. And Christ's ministry would have been hindered by its bad reputation. So Christ did what was best. The same we should do. You get me? So, am I saying you have to be on the run? No. I'm not saying just because people look angry, suddenly you think, okay, I need to get out of here. No, absolutely not. You walk in joy, you walk in confidence, good. But where you notice that there's a societal collapse going on, and you notice that the tensions, the environment's getting darker, because emotionally and energetically there's a dark vibe in the community, begin to take your steps to be more away from that location. Now, once you cross the Jordan, they won't be able to kill you or do any of that. No. But they will be able to hinder you if you don't watch out. And it's not just about you. If they're angered because they can't kill you, and they still have strength, they will kill some 15-year-old or some child or whatever. That's how sick the masses are. So how do you endure and survive societal collapse? It's quite simple. You, as a believer, you remain flexible. You make sure that you remain unpredictable, and you lower your activities in the location. Okay, Don Tide is saying, what about when people are moving? Now look, if you notice, okay, that's a good question. If you notice that many people in your neighborhood are moving out, ask yourself why. Why are they suddenly all moving out? I'm glad you asked this question, because this is also a red flag many people miss. Nobody just sells their house and goes somewhere else. There's a big risk to sell your house. When a lot of people just begin to move, and they're quite desperate to move as soon as possible, it's because they see that the situation is getting grim. They see that the situation is getting out of hand, and they see that folks are going to get hurt soon. And they don't want to be the ones getting hurt, and you realize if they stay in that situation, the toxic situation will harm them, so they leave the situation. They're quite smart. Mark, that's true. When people are upset with you and you walk by faith, they won't confront you directly, but they'll come passively. That's true. But this thing, when you walk by faith, they have no reason to be upset with you. If you were operating in darkness and you had pollution coming and you emitted pollution energy field, then they had reason to be upset with you. But the number one reason why people are upset with you when you walk by faith is not because you walk in power and leverage that they don't have. And why don't they have this power and leverage? Because Heavenly Father doesn't trust them. But anyway, so I don't know where you are, but if you notice that people are moving like crazy out of your neighborhood, depending who they are, if it's migrants moving out, if it's migrants or minorities, well, it's only minorities in the context of the Western world. Minorities refer to non-white people. So if you see there's many minorities that are moving out, then you know this because there's racial violence about to exploit the community. If it's white flight, as they call it, then you know that also that the people there don't want to participate in a community, so they want to leave. So them leaving is going to leave a lot of houses vacant, and that can attract criminality. When it's white flight, it is because those people don't want to be bothered by the issues of the community, so they want to blame it all on the minorities and just want to leave. So that means that sooner or later that community is going to be targeted by the government. Indeed, Milan, some the demons start them getting angry, but here's the thing, demons are quite cautious with expressing themselves. Some that think demons are so confident and so cocky they just show themselves. No, demons are quite scared with expressing themselves. Demons will trigger bad human emotions to cause the human to act out. Demons will seldom act out directly through a human being, because if they act out and they put in check, they're in trouble. Demons are not so secure and confident as we think they are. They're not. That's why demons love to inhabit defective people with issues, because those are the people they can trigger to act on their behalf. Demons seldom want to take over a body and act through someone. It's quite risky for demons to do that. Number one reason is that they don't know what will happen. There can be heaven can respond against them, but holy angelic beings put them in their place, or other demons can put them in check and and torture them and all of that. So, as you know, demons are quite unstable. In any case, well, you may say, Rashid, what if you're not able to leave yet? If you're not able to leave yet, you make sure you remain economically active, put some money aside, and get look to other options. And maybe, I'm not saying this ultimately, maybe a lot of people are moving out of your neighborhood. And now you realize, the price of the houses go down. Let me purchase one or two of those houses. And suddenly, when the collapse is over, you have two houses. That can also be the case. So take advantage of the situation. That's not narcissistic, that's realistic. Because what else can you do when there's a societal collapse? When there's a societal collapse, it is because the public has run out of excuses. And because the public is not interested in solutions, they just want an outlet. And because they don't have an outlet, that's why there's a societal collapse. So you cannot fix a societal collapse. You can't cure a societal collapse. You can't. You can only take advantage of the situation by either leaving the situation or use the situation in your advantage. It's one of the two. And one more thing, stop giving demons so much credit. Okay, stop it. Demons are not that relevant. Demons are not even stable amongst each other. I don't care how pissed or angry they are, they're not relevant. And demons know if they express themselves through human beings too much, to have holy angelic beings may have to respond and put them in a place again. They've been kicked out of heaven before. They don't want to experience this over and over again. That's why demons hide behind the facts of fallen mankind. That's why demons hide within religion and all those effective structures. If demons were so powerful and so cocky, they would just show themselves all the time unapologetically. None of them can do that. Even the strong men who are so fierce cannot do that openly. Yes, demons are the ones, the powers of darkness are the ones using people, okay? But the people also have their part. No, I'm not saying sometimes someone can be taken over by demons for a few seconds and they really don't notice what happened, okay? That can happen. But if this happens over and over again and the individual doesn't notice, there's something wrong with the individual. So the human beings also have their role to play in it. That's why we should be focused on ministering to people to get them to embrace Christ and to renew in their minds. Right now, many churches are so obsessed with casting out evil spirits. Yes, casting evil spirits is just one role of it, but we have to baptize the nations. We have to baptize the nation in the knowledge of Christ. Because the nations are polluted with religious filth. So we need to baptize them in the knowledge of Christ by teaching and enacting wisdom around them. When we do that, demons lose their grip. But if you only focus on casting out evil spirits, you end up chasing evil spirits. And evil spirits will enjoy that because that means they're draining you and keeping you away from doing the will of the Heavenly Father. Look, some people can be used by demons and are not aware of it. That happens from time to time. That someone thinks, what just happened? What did I say? What did I do that? That can happen. If it happens once or twice, okay. The human being is innocent. But if it keeps happening, the human being somewhere doesn't want to face themselves. Look, I'm not saying that those entities are not to blame. They are. Look, the evil spirits are to blame, absolutely. So if it's evil spirits that hacked someone, it's not the human being should be upset. The evil spirits that use the individual. But if the individual wants to keep themselves available for demons, now the human being is to blame too. So just look at it in context. Anyway, just don't give too much credit to evil spirits, and don't give too much credit to bad people also. Neither bad people nor evil spirits should receive too much credit. Eventually, it's the Heavenly Father that tolerates it to happen, just to trigger you, the believer, to step in. So, Let's see how much battery I have still. Okay, that is good. Look, it's quite simple. When there is a societal collapse, we need to stay low-key and keep walking in power. And when it comes to evil spirits using people, evil spirits will use people. Okay? Are we going to get kind of upset and hateful and escalate on people because demons have used them? No, it's demons that use them. Many people would freak out when they realize demons were using them. They think, no, 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 I don't want this. But then there are people, they don't care what's going on, as long as they get relief. Now, such people are invested in darkness because they've embraced the dark side. Now, demons love to use people who embrace the dark side because they are partners of the evil spirits in darkness. Demons will seldom use someone that hasn't embraced the dark side. Because someone who has not embraced the dark side, an unbeliever who hasn't embraced the dark side, if demons keep using that individual, the individual can realize something's off. And once the individual wakes up, it's going to be a danger for the demons. That individual is more likely to embrace Christ and expose them. So demons love to use people who already sold out to darkness, because then both are to blame. If demons use someone who has embraced the dark side, only demons are to blame. But if demons use someone that has already embraced the dark side, they can hide behind the blame of the human being. So, I teach you now, I taught you now what I wanted to teach about societal collapse. There's not much I have to say about it. Just stay low-key, remain active in the spirit and in the natural, put the finance aside and begin to expand. That's why I should be expanding anyway. Now, you can ask your questions now related to this topic. I'll give you a minute. If I don't get any questions, I'll close the live. Joe said he noticed ambulances coming more often in this community. That means there are more domestic violence incidents happening. And there are more accidents happening. That means that psychic tension is exploding. That means that the people are getting pissed off, and soon locally there may be a collapse. That's what's going on. Am I saying, Joe, you have to leave now? No. Just begin to send peace out of you. Send peace out of you throughout the community. And be more dominant right now in sending peace out of you in your community. That's what you need to do now, Joe. Listen, if you cannot escape the situation, if you cannot leave the situation yet, you stay below the radar. Stay below the radar before you escape. Don't just escape. Stay below the radar and then you escape, if it's necessary. If it's not necessary, you can just stay. Because we're not fearful people who just flee all the time. We are people that walk in power. It's only for the best that we escape dark situations, so that we are not exhausted by fighting the darkness. So stay below the radar and then see where you can escape. Look, if it's any issue in the community that can be addressed, you address it as a believer. But if a societal collapse, there's none to address. You just need to stay out of that mess. All right, let me see if there are any other questions here. Let me see. All right, I haven't noticed any other questions. Well, hold on. Mark asks, if you keep bumping into people who come in the name of Christ and happens to give away a book. Someone asked if the government comes in the community, is that a good thing or a bad thing? So says we do a discussion on the China collapse for instance the impact of Evergrande Christ. Okay, let me lump all those questions together. People that keep coming in the name of Christ offering you a book, they're often called, so beware of them. Okay, just decline politely, or if the Holy Spirit tells you to accept it politely and just leave the situation. If the government comes into the community, that's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. Government only comes in the community when there's some instability that needs to be put in check. They don't come to the community for fun, because government is not a fun institution. It's a cult, it's a satanic cult that feels entitled to use violence to achieve its aims. That's the government. Okay? So that's about the China collapse. But already explained before, I believe a few years ago. that China is a region that's functioning as a country. China used to be an empire consisting out of Chinese kingdoms under the emperor. Now it's a region under the Chinese Communist Party. So it's kind of similar, and it's only held together by firm oppression of the Chinese population. And the only thing that keeps this region together is economic exploitation. China lowered the value of its currency. China faked having an immense high population just in order to attract people to invest over there because it's so going to have cheap labor. That's the hoax and the scam China used in order to keep themselves economically relevant. And now that hoax and that scam is falling apart. So that's the crisis going on in China right now. And they may resort to violence soon, likely towards Taiwan. So beware of that. Because Taiwan, so that's the situation with China. And China has a demographic problem. They're declining very soon. So that's why you have a lot of Chinese people having babies with Africans now, because Africa is economically relevant and China's economic relevancy is decreasing. All right? Now, China wanted to expand by using financial investments in other countries. For example, in Honduras, but it didn't work that well because Latin American countries don't trust the Chinese Communist Party. Also because wherever Chinese investments from mainland China tend to come, they always tend to be the Chinese triads, the Chinese mafia with organ harvesting and all of that. And I already made a live stream about it, how the Li dynasty is behind all of this. So Latin America is fed up, but it's only Africa that gave them a chance now. And now Africa is the last chance to remain economically relevant as a region in Asia. If Africa would close its doors, China would face immediate collapse. That's why they changed their attitude towards Africans, only for survival's sake. But still, the collapse will happen, and that's why they're holding on to Africa now. And yes, that's what's going on. And they may assert violence over Taiwan anytime soon. So that's the situation of China's collapse. All right, let's see if there are any other questions over here. Thanks for the donation. Don't hide. Well, thank you all for being here. Thanks for listening. Keep on agreeing with Christ. Be at peace, and I'll see you next time.